Welcome to my channel. Do you feel nervous when someone says, "Please introduce yourself" in English? Do your words suddenly disappear, even though you practiced many times before? Maybe you understand English very well while watching videos or reading books. But when it is time to speak, fear suddenly stops you. Your heart starts beating fast. Your hands feel cold. Your mind becomes empty. If this sounds like you, then this video is exactly what you need today. In this video, we are going to learn how to introduce yourself in English confidently, naturally, and without fear. You do not need difficult grammar. You do not need advanced vocabulary. You do not need perfect English to sound confident. You only need simple English, daily practice, and the courage to start speaking step by step. I know many English learners feel shy and afraid when speaking to new people. They worry about mistakes. They worry about pronunciation. Sometimes they compare themselves with fluent speakers and lose confidence completely. But today, I want you to relax because every confident English speaker was once nervous too. They improved because they practiced and never gave up. In this video, you will learn how to introduce yourself in school, college, interviews, and real-life conversations. You will learn how to continue conversations naturally after introducing yourself. You will also learn how to speak with confidence, even when you feel nervous inside. I will share simple tips, real-life experiences, and powerful speaking habits that can slowly change your English confidence. So, stay with me until the very end, because every chapter will help you become a stronger and more confident English speaker. Little by little, your fear will become smaller, and your confidence will become bigger. Your English speaking journey starts right now. Chapter 1. The Power of a Simple Introduction. Many people feel afraid when they have to introduce themselves in English. Their heart starts beating fast. Their hands become cold. Sometimes, even very simple words suddenly disappear from their mind. Maybe this has happened to you too. You practice English alone at home very well, but when someone says, "Please introduce yourself," your confidence suddenly becomes weak. You want to speak, but fear stops you. If you feel this way, you are not alone. Almost every English learner experiences this problem at the beginning. I remember the first time I tried to introduce myself in English in front of other people. I practiced many times before going to class. I stood in front of the mirror and repeated the same sentences again and again. I thought I was fully ready, but when the teacher suddenly called my name and asked me to stand up, everything changed. My heart started beating very fast. My mouth became dry. My mind became completely empty. I forgot even the easiest sentences. I looked around the classroom and felt like everyone was watching me carefully. I wanted to sit down immediately and disappear. At that moment, I thought maybe English speaking was impossible for me. But later, I learned something very important. People do not expect perfect English from beginners. They only want to understand you. This small realization changed my thinking completely. I stopped trying to sound perfect and started focusing on speaking clearly and calmly. That was the moment my confidence slowly started growing. One thing you must always remember is this: simple English is powerful. Many learners think they need difficult grammar and advanced vocabulary to sound confident. This is not true. In real life, simple English works very well. Short and clear sentences are easier to remember, easier to pronounce, and easier for people to understand. You can start your introduction with very easy sentences. You can say, "Hello, my name is Ali. I am from Pakistan. I am a student. I enjoy learning English." These sentences are simple, but they are natural and confident. You do not need long, complicated sentences to introduce yourself successfully. I remember practicing these simple lines every single day. Sometimes I practiced while walking inside my room. Sometimes I practiced quietly before sleeping. At first, it felt strange talking to myself in English. Sometimes I laughed at my pronunciation. Sometimes I made many mistakes. But little by little, my speaking became smoother. Practice slowly removed my fear. Another important thing during introductions is your smile. A small smile can completely change the way you look and feel. When you smile, you appear more friendly and confident. A smile also helps your own mind relax. Even if you feel nervous inside, smiling can make you feel calmer. Eye contact is also very important. Many learners look down at the floor because they feel shy. I used to do the same thing. One day, I introduced myself to a new teacher while looking only at the ground. My voice became very soft and nervous. The teacher could hardly hear me. Then the teacher smiled kindly and said, "Look at me. Speak slowly. You can do it." I tried again. This time, I looked up while speaking. Suddenly, I felt stronger. That small change gave me more confidence immediately. Your voice also matters a lot. Many learners think fast speaking sounds fluent, but speaking too fast often creates more mistakes and confusion. Slow speaking sounds more confident. When you speak slowly, your brain has more time to think and your pronunciation becomes clearer. People understand you more easily. I used to rush during introductions because I was nervous. My words became unclear, and I mixed up simple sentences. Then one day, I decided to slow down. I took a deep breath before speaking and focused on calm speaking instead of fast speaking. That simple habit improved my introductions greatly. Another mistake many learners make is comparing themselves to other people. Maybe you know someone who speaks English very confidently. Maybe their pronunciation sounds perfect and natural. When you compare yourself to them, you may start feeling weak or discouraged, but you should never compare your beginning to someone else's progress. I remember comparing myself with one of my friends. He spoke English very smoothly and confidently. Whenever he talked, people listened carefully. I felt embarrassed speaking after him. I thought my English sounded terrible, but one day he told me something surprising. He said, "I was nervous too when I first started learning English." That sentence changed my mindset. I realized every confident speaker was once a beginner, too. Another powerful way to improve your introduction is daily repetition. Repeat your introduction every day until it becomes natural. Practice while standing in front of a mirror. Practice while walking outside. Practice inside your mind. Repetition trains your brain and makes speaking easier over time. Recording your voice is also very helpful. Many learners avoid this because they feel uncomfortable hearing their own voice. I felt the same way at first. The first time I recorded my introduction, my voice sounded weak and nervous. I noticed many pronunciation mistakes, but instead of feeling sad, I kept practicing and recording again. After some weeks, I heard clear improvement. My voice sounded stronger and calmer. Listening to my own progress gave me motivation to continue. Body language is another important part of confidence. Stand straight when introducing yourself. Relax your shoulders. Do not hide your face. Good body language makes you look more confident, even when you feel nervous inside. Sometimes confidence begins with action. You speak first, and then confidence slowly follows. You should also prepare answers for simple questions people may ask after your introduction. Someone may ask where you are from, what you study, or what your hobbies are. Prepare easy answers for these questions. Preparation reduces fear greatly. For example, if someone asks about your hobbies, you can answer, I enjoy reading books and watching English videos. This answer is simple but natural. Simple answers are enough for real conversations. I remember joining a small English-speaking group one day. Everyone had to introduce themselves in front of the group. My heart was beating very fast again. I thought I would fail, but this time, I remembered all my practice. I smiled, took a deep breath, and started speaking slowly. When I finished, everyone smiled kindly. Nobody laughed at me. In that moment, I understood something very important. Fear becomes smaller when you face it. Another important lesson is positive thinking. Before speaking, many learners tell themselves negative things like, my English is bad, or I will make mistakes. These thoughts create more fear. Instead, speak positively to yourself. Tell yourself, I am learning. I am improving every day. I can do this. Positive thoughts create stronger confidence, little by little. Mistakes are also completely normal. Every English learner makes mistakes. Even native speakers make mistakes sometimes. Do not let mistakes stop your progress. Every mistake teaches you something useful. I made hundreds of mistakes while learning English. Sometimes I forgot words. Sometimes my grammar was wrong. Sometimes my pronunciation sounded strange. But every mistake helped me improve slowly. Another helpful idea is learning from other speakers. Watch English videos online and notice how people introduce themselves. Pay attention to their voice, smile, confidence, and body language. Learning from others can improve your own speaking style naturally. You should also make your introduction personal. Talk about real things you truly enjoy. Maybe you love football, cooking, music, movies, or reading books. When you talk about real interests, your speaking sounds more natural and confident. Always remember this. Confidence does not mean speaking perfect English. Confidence means continuing to speak even when you feel nervous. Confidence means trying again after mistakes. The more you practice, the easier introductions become. So remember these simple lessons. Stay calm. Smile naturally. Speak slowly. Use simple English. Practice every day. Stop comparing yourself to others. Believe in your progress. Every confident English speaker once felt nervous too. They improved because they continued practicing without giving up. Introducing yourself in English is not something to fear. It is a chance to connect with people and share your story. Every small introduction makes you stronger. Every practice session builds your confidence little by little. One day, you will look back and realize how far you have come. Thank you for listening. I hope this chapter helps you feel more confident about introducing yourself in English. Keep practicing every day. Keep smiling. Keep believing in yourself. Your English speaking journey is becoming stronger with every small step you take. Chapter 2. Learning how to speak about yourself naturally. Many English learners can say their name in English very easily. They can say where they are from, too. But after 2 or 3 sentences, they suddenly stop speaking. Their mind becomes empty again. They do not know what to say next. Maybe this has happened to you, too. Someone asks you, "Tell me about yourself." And suddenly, you feel nervous. You want to continue speaking, but your confidence becomes weak. You start worrying about grammar mistakes. You start thinking too much about every word. Because of this fear, your speaking becomes slow and uncomfortable. But let me tell you something important. Speaking about yourself does not need to be difficult. You do not need advanced vocabulary or perfect grammar. You only need simple English and natural confidence. People do not expect long speeches. They only want to know a little about you. When you understand this, speaking becomes much easier. I remember meeting a new student one day during an English class. The teacher asked both of us to introduce ourselves and talk a little about our life. I started confidently with my name and country, but after that, I became completely silent. My mind was searching for difficult words because I wanted to sound intelligent. The more I searched for perfect words, the more nervous I became. Finally, I gave very short answers and quickly sat down. Later that day, I realized my biggest mistake. I was trying too hard to sound perfect instead of speaking naturally. After that experience, I changed my method completely. I stopped using difficult words and started focusing on simple communication. Instead of trying to impress people, I focused on expressing myself clearly. Slowly, speaking about myself became easier and more comfortable. One important thing you should remember is this: your life does not need to sound exciting to create a good conversation. Many learners think their daily life is boring, so they become nervous when talking about themselves. But simple and honest answers are always the best answers. You can talk about your studies, your family, your hobbies, your dreams, or your daily routine using very simple English. For example, you can say, "I am a student. I enjoy learning English. In my free time, I watch movies and read books." These are very simple sentences, but they sound natural and confident. Real communication is usually simple. Another important thing is speaking slowly. Many learners panic during introductions and start speaking too fast. When you speak too quickly, you make more mistakes, and your pronunciation becomes unclear. Slow speaking helps your brain stay calm. I remember practicing introductions in front of a mirror every evening. At first, I spoke very quickly because I was nervous. My words became mixed together and difficult to understand. Then, I started practicing slower speaking. I paused after every sentence and focused on clear pronunciation. Little by little, my confidence improved greatly. You should also learn how to answer common questions naturally. Many conversations include the same simple questions again and again. Questions like, "Where are you from? What do you study? What are your hobbies?" Or, "Why are you learning English?" are very common. If you prepare simple answers for these questions, conversations become much easier. For example, if someone asks, "Why are you learning English?" you can say, "I am learning English because I want better opportunities and more confidence." This answer is simple, honest, and natural. I used to practice these questions every day. Sometimes I asked myself questions while walking outside. Sometimes I answered imaginary questions inside my room. At first, it felt funny talking to myself, but this habit helped my speaking improve very quickly. Another helpful habit is thinking in English during daily life. When you wake up in the morning, describe simple things around you in English. You can say, "Today feels very hot," or "I am drinking tea." These small thoughts train your brain to think naturally in English, instead of translating everything from your own language. At first, I translated every sentence inside my mind before speaking. This made conversations stressful and slow. But slowly, I started thinking directly in simple English. This made speaking feel smoother and more natural. Another important thing is body language. Many learners focus only on grammar and forget about confidence. But your smile, posture, and eye contact also affect conversations. When you smile naturally and stand confidently, people feel more comfortable talking to you. I remember meeting someone at a bookstore one day. Normally, I would feel nervous during conversations, but this time I tried something different. I smiled naturally, relaxed my shoulders, and focused on staying calm. Even though my English was simple, the conversation felt much smoother because my body language showed confidence. Another useful idea is adding small details while speaking about yourself. Small details make your speaking more interesting and natural. Instead of saying only "I like football," you can say "I enjoy playing football with my friends every weekend." This sounds more real and friendly. I practiced adding details during my speaking exercises. At first, my answers were very short and boring, but slowly, I learned how to continue speaking for a longer time using simple extra information. Another thing many learners fear is making mistakes while talking about themselves. But mistakes are completely normal. You do not need perfect English to have a good conversation. Real conversations are not perfect, even for native speakers. One day, I forgot a simple English word during a conversation. I became nervous immediately and wanted to stop talking. But instead of becoming silent, I described the word using other easy words. The person understood me easily. That experience taught me something powerful. Communication is more important than perfect vocabulary. Listening is also very important for natural speaking. Good communication is not only about talking, it is also about listening carefully. When you listen to English regularly, you learn pronunciation, sentence patterns, and natural expressions. I started listening to simple English videos and interviews every day. At first, I understood very little, but slowly, my ears became familiar with English sounds. Over time, I started using new expressions naturally in my own speaking. Another powerful exercise is recording yourself. Record short introductions and listen carefully to your voice. At first, hearing your own voice may feel uncomfortable, but this exercise helps you notice improvement clearly. I remember listening to my old recordings after several weeks of practice. In the beginning, my voice sounded weak and nervous, but later, I noticed stronger pronunciation and smoother speaking. Hearing my own progress gave me motivation to continue practicing every day. Another important lesson is confidence through repetition. Many learners practice introductions only once or twice and then become disappointed when they still feel nervous. But confidence grows through repeated practice. The more you repeat something, the more natural it becomes. I practiced introducing myself hundreds of times, sometimes while standing in front of a mirror, sometimes while walking alone, sometimes inside my mind before sleeping. Slowly, Introductions stopped feeling scary. Another helpful thing is staying positive with yourself. Many learners become their own biggest critics. After every conversation, they focus only on mistakes. This destroys confidence. Instead, focus on progress. Maybe today you spoke one sentence more confidently than yesterday. That is improvement. I used to feel frustrated because my English was not perfect, but later I realized something important. Every small practice session was making me stronger little by little. Progress happens slowly, but it still happens. Always remember this. People connect with honesty and confidence, not perfect grammar. Simple English spoken confidently is much more powerful than difficult English spoken fearfully. So, remember these important lessons. Use simple English. Speak slowly. Add small details. Practice common questions every day. Think in English during daily life. Smile naturally. Stop fearing mistakes. Believe in your progress. Confidence grows step by step with practice and patience. Talking about yourself in English may feel difficult today, but one day it will feel natural and comfortable. Every conversation is helping you become stronger. Every small practice session is building your confidence. Thank you for listening. Keep practicing every day and never stop believing in yourself. Your English speaking journey is improving little by little with every word you speak. Chapter 3. Starting conversations after introducing yourself. Many English learners can introduce themselves very well. They can say their name, country, hobbies, and even their goals. But after the introduction ends, another problem suddenly appears. Silence. The conversation stops. The learner becomes nervous again because they do not know what to say next. Maybe this has happened to you too. You introduce yourself successfully, but after a few seconds, your mind becomes empty. You start feeling uncomfortable. You think the other person is waiting for you to continue speaking, but fear suddenly controls your thoughts. I remember experiencing this many times when I first started speaking English. I could memorize a good introduction very easily. I practiced it again and again at home. But when the introduction finished, I became completely lost. I did not know how to continue the conversation naturally. I stood there smiling awkwardly while my brain searched for words. Sometimes the silence felt so uncomfortable that I wanted to leave immediately. One day, something happened that changed my understanding of conversations completely. I was attending a small English-speaking event. Many students were standing in groups and talking confidently. I felt nervous, but I decided to try anyway. I introduced myself to another student using simple English. After that, my mind became empty again. I thought the conversation would end there. But then the student smiled and asked me a simple question. He said, "What do you enjoy doing in your free time?" That small question changed everything. Suddenly, the conversation became easier. We talked about movies, football, and learning English. At that moment, I realized something very important. Conversations grow through simple questions. You do not need difficult English to continue a conversation. You only need curiosity and courage. Simple questions are very powerful. Questions help both people participate in the conversation. Instead of carrying the whole conversation alone, you create a natural exchange together. For example, after introducing yourself, you can ask very easy questions like, "Where are you from? What do you do? Do you enjoy learning English?" Or, "What are your hobbies?" These questions are simple, but they keep conversations alive naturally. At first, I thought conversations required advanced vocabulary and perfect grammar. But later, I realized that real conversations are usually simple. People care more about connection than perfect language. Another important thing is listening carefully. Many learners focus so much on their next sentence that they stop listening to the other person completely. I used to do this all the time. While someone was speaking, my mind was busy preparing my next answer. Because of this, I often missed important parts of the conversation. Then one day, I decided to relax and focus only on listening carefully. Something surprising happened. Conversations became much easier. When you truly listen, you naturally find ideas for your next response. Listening removes pressure from your mind. Another helpful thing is speaking slowly. Nervous learners often rush because they are afraid of silence or mistakes. But fast speaking creates more confusion and stress. Slow speaking sounds calmer and more confident. I remember having a conversation with a visitor at my school. I was speaking so quickly that I started mixing up words and forgetting simple grammar. Then I stopped for a moment, took a deep breath, and started speaking more slowly. Immediately, the conversation became smoother. Speaking slowly helped me feel more relaxed and confident. Body language also plays a very important role during conversations. Smile naturally while listening and speaking. Maintain gentle eye contact. Nod your head while listening. Positive body language makes conversations feel warmer and more comfortable. I once met someone who spoke very simple English, but their smile and friendly attitude made the conversation enjoyable. That experience taught me something important. Confidence is not only about vocabulary, it is also about energy and friendliness. Another powerful tip is preparing conversation starters before speaking with people. Practice simple opening lines every day. For example, you can practice saying, "Nice to meet you." "How was your day?" Or, "What do you enjoy doing?" These prepared questions help reduce nervousness during real conversations. I practiced these lines many times while standing in front of a mirror. At first, it felt strange and unnatural, but slowly the questions became automatic. Later, I started using them naturally in real-life situations. Another thing many learners fear is silence. Sometimes conversations become quiet for a few seconds. This is completely normal. Silence happens in every language. But many English learners panic during these moments and think something is wrong. I remember one conversation where both of us suddenly became quiet. My heart started beating fast because I thought the conversation was failing. Then I asked a simple question about favorite foods, and the conversation continued naturally again. Clear's throat is greater than. That experience taught me not to fear short pauses. Another good habit is talking about familiar topics. Familiar topics feel easier because you already know many words related to them. You can talk about hobbies, movies, football, music, studies, family, or daily routines.